And hey everyone, we are back with more The Long Voyage, and you guys are you're split up. Some are back at the Wounded Stag, and Gilfie is out doing some late afternoon shopping at the various marketplaces in CharismaToAC, and by this point, I think now that he's been doing a bit of shopping and such, I think we're going to pop back to the others at the stag and find out what you guys are up to.
Plotting horrible revenge on an ugly man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's always playing games.
That's the case.
I think Sindri, for his part, will probably actually get up and go have a wander out in town as well, just to have a look around. I mean, he's good at navigation. He should be able to find his way back home. And lucky he'll find Gilfie out there. You know.
Well, you go. Well, you can ask around, obviously, but it's a big city, so even though
I know, just I broken Southland might know just enough to say market or something, and then shrug.
Tall man.
No, you find your ways to one or more markets as well as and can start looking around and so on.
Mm-hmm. I think what sort of thing they'd have that would be of interest to me. That was an interesting noise.
Someone just puked.
It was just Rasmus vacating the contents of his lungs.
Why?
Because
it's called sneezing. I just added some sound for dramatic effect.
Yes, clearly. Is there anyone nearby I might be able to get some more arrows that would fit a longbow?
Yeah, there are certainly plenty of Fletchers here, but you would need to, go somewhere and have them take measurements for your bow because you are that much bigger than pretty much anyone. So, you can order you can order arrows. It won't take them long.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, Sindri will either have had his bow with him, or he'll head back, grab the bow, and come back. And
if he comes back, he will then have Ilva with him.
Okay. Well,
because she doesn't feel like losing to Frothy again.
Right, well, let's just say that's what happens then. See, out and about.
Perhaps Frothy would care to join us, or otherwise I'll just be stuck with Buggy drooling in the corner.
I think he will ask the innkeeper if he has any bones from past dinners, and then he'll practice his scrimshoring a bit.
Yeah, so certainly.
Great. Then he'll have some alone time.
Okay.
Working on his bone.
Yeah,
yeah, I knew that was
Baggy.
Saw that coming.
Grunting from their own bunks in the room.
Well, this involves a knife, so maybe not.
Well, everyone
no king shaming.
Fetish.
No king shaming.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Well, anyway, you guys, you two go and take a look around the markets as well, and it is getting late in the day, so
best we find Gilfie and bring him home.
Some of the stalls are obviously already closed, and others are closing up as you get around. Still, obviously there are still thousands of people moving around in the streets because big city and all.
Are there ones with weird pastries?
Weird pastries?
Pastries she's not used to. Basically.
Well, you can certainly find, as I said, there are plenty of street food vendors, so you can do that.
Woohoo! Weird food!
Weird mental image of Uva looking with big glistening eyes at a Danish pastry somewhere.
I was more thinking of something like a Cornish pastry.
Cornish pasty.
Yeah, well,
but yes.
But yeah.
Something along those lines.
Anyway, or a steak and steak pie. That sort of
yeah.
And then be completely weirded out because it's a pie, but there's savory stuff inside. What the fuck?
That wouldn't be unusual where you're from either.
Oh, okay.
But in any case, you two get, if there is anything you are actually looking for. That's what I'm trying to say. My tongue really would not form words right there.
Actually, I think Ilva actually followed Mr. Grumpy Pants because he knows stuff about bows and she'd like to learn to use one.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So she should probably get one.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna get a slightly. You want to get the same type of bow?
I don't know. I don't know which one is easiest to learn.
Well, all bows in general do in real life take a lot of time, years even to get right properly.
Yeah, it's difficult to learn, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you want, you could always cheat and just get a crossbow. But
assuming
okay.
they've been
Why is it cross?
I was about to say no, she can't.
Oh yes, they haven't invented those yet.
Nope.
Why would it be cross? Is it yours?
Very funny. Very funny. All right, fine. So yes, we go to the Fletcher's place in order for arrows and well,
you're the one who's going to teach me, so whatever you think would be smartest. And then she smiles widely.
I think Gylfi has the same type of bow that Cylindrid has, a long bow, unless I'm mistaken. But
I don't think he has a long.
No, just a normal bow.
Yeah, he has a regular bow.
I think the same would be useful for Ilva because it's still got a very good range to it. Either way, it's more mid-range and it's probably easier to handle. Although, let's face it, a regular bow for a Southlander would be about the size of the average longbow for a man of the Green Shores anyway. So, yeah, I mean, Sindri will recommend a regular bow, pointing out that it will be easier to handle, maybe a little easier to learn, if not necessarily any quicker to learn, but
Okay.
And it might be easy to come across arrows as well, because as he points out, he's having to have his arrows custom made because of the size of his bow. So yeah, we can put an order for a bow.
Perfect.
Okay, so how much would all of this come to in terms of cost?
One cat.
I certainly hope
3
not.
dogs.
We don't have either of those.
We can probably
camel.
catch one.
Well, it comes to. Actually, we'd need to look that up in the in the rule book. Sorry, just hang on.
Bless you.
Oh my goodness. Yes, thank you very much. That was
An unpleasant thing.
No, it was just stuck there for a while. So anyway, we need to look exactly the prices of stuff such as bows and arrows and the likes.
Regular bow is default it was 100 silver.
Yes.
The default and arrows. Remember.
So 100.
Yeah.
What about arrows?
And those we are actually looking for as well. Or at least I'm looking for them right now, but the what is it called, the equipment list here is extensive.
Yeah, if you can become an alien in GURPS, then I imagine the item list is humongous.
It's considerable. So weapons. Here. No, not firearms. I'm not interested in firearms. Armor. No. Shields, miscellaneous. Well, apparently they don't want to include the price of ammunition on this list. It's probably in here somewhere, but you know exactly where to find it is beyond me right now. Ammunition. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, let's say they sell arrows in you know, basically in any amount that you need. Although, you know, at a minimum of they'll sell you a minimum of 10, but you know,
Yeah.
but if you want more than that, they can do that quite easily, and they'll charge a silver per arrow. It is a skill job to make them.
Yes, of course. Are we doing this in silver? Well, I mean, what is it that you said we had the equivalent of? How many gold pieces? You said it wasn't, right?
Yes, but for the gold for them is worth more than silver. They are charging you in silver pieces.
Okay. I see. But the point is, Sindri's thinking is that he wants to hold on to his silver because he does plan to go home at some point, and silver is more valuable to him. So he.
How many silver is in a gold?
By the way. Okay.
So buy 10, give him a gold piece.
Okay, he will buy for his own personal one. He will order. Let's see, how many will he?
And also remember that they they weigh about 2 pounds for, well, actually more, weigh about 3 pounds for 20 arrows. They're long, and you know it's not as if it's you know, it's not like a small bullet or anything. So they're fairly weighty, and more than that. While in most fantasy games I realized that you could, strictly speaking, carry 300 arrows on you if you want, it's simply not practical to do so. So you know,
yeah. I'll buy 20 arrows for 2 gold pieces.
Yeah, sure.
What about the size for the regular bow? Is it the same?
Yeah, it's the making an arrow is as I said, it's a skill job, and it's the cost is the same regardless of the size of the arrow, really, unless it's something, you know, completely extraordinary. But it's
all right.
It's simply a matter of it's a matter of the amount of time it takes to make one.
Yeah, well, she probably needs a quiver.
Yes. They can certainly sell you that as well. I mean, it's a Fletcher, so you know they can do
Yeah.
you're in a Fletcher.
And she will probably take 30 because she's thinking that at least some of them will fly off into the distance where she'll never find it again.
Probably. Yep, you can do that. Fine.
Excellent.
How much is the quiver? Does it say?
The quiver is, it's listed somewhere here. Blah, 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 blah. Again, it is listed somewhere here under miscellaneous. So I just need to get down and find that.
Either way. Ew.
Let us just settle on a price here, because I can't find it right off.
Yeah.
So let's just settle on a price of 10. Boom. Yeah.
What would
10 gold pieces. It's hardened leather. It's hardened and boiled leather that it's in. It's not a soft quiver you get. They're not as efficient.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Because that's the standard.
Exactly. So
Fair enough.
And he hands over the
Regular bow would be a short bow, right?
Actually, no. I think a regular bow is just a regular bow. Then there's the short bow and the long bow. But I'll just check it.
mean, we could imagine Silver could go for a short bow. It's even easier to handle, although you won't get anywhere near
No,
the
she
range.
would. She wouldn't go for a tiny thing. She has a thing with big stuff. Have you seen her hammer?
Yeah, I don't think, as nice as it would be to have one of those, Gylfi, I don't think even in real life there is a technology that could well, actually there might be. I mean, I know there are such a thing as repeating crossbows, but I've never seen an automatic repeating crossbow. And yeah,
Probably cumbersome to make one, but I think you
Yeah.
can.
I've never seen a crossbow where you've been able to get 5 rounds a second.
There is one here called a regular bow. So I'm assuming that that's the one we're using.
Yep.
Good. Do you need some stats on it?
Yosh.
Okay. It is thrust +1, and it's impaling in terms of damage.
Where do I put that in? I have melee attacks and active defense. Oh, ranged. Never mind.
I mean, you could use it to hit people, but that's not what it's made for.
Me.
Or
It
use
was
the
a
bow stick
range
to
of
strangle.
what?
It's sorry, what did you say? It's thrust +1 impaling. It's got an ACC or accuracy of 2.
Yeah.
Range is ×15/×20.
Yeah.
And we will do all the calculations later on if it becomes necessary. The weight is very nice. The weight is actually is listed as 2 pounds, and the weight of an arrow is listed as 0.1 pounds. So basically, yeah, that makes it easier.
You get much lighter arrows than I do.
No, it's the same for actually yours are the same. It's my bad. So
No, that's no problem.
arrows are 0.1 pound per, and the rate of fire, of course, is 1.
Yeah.
And yeah, bulk is -7. Yeah, that's about, I think, the things that you need for now.
Yeah, it'll be a while before she actually uses it in combat.
Exactly.
Still, it's nice to have it there.
It's nice to
Yeah.
have it, and now you can practice with it and stuff. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, he brings you your arrows and smiles and looks at you and he doesn't speak your language, and you don't really speak his, but you still manage to communicate what it is you guys need, and in the end you end up having.
We're good at miming.
You're good at miming, and he you get the right things in the end, and you take off, I guess.
Oh, cool. She says nicely, "Thank you" in tier class. She learned that from Gylfi
Yes,
because he's a polite little shit.
yes, he's the owner smiles and says, well, the equivalent of "you're welcome," and then you guys head back out, or
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, it's getting dark, and
It is.
Sindri trusts Gylfi to find his own way back.
Ilva jests and elbows in. Don't blame me if I hit you in the ass with an arrow.
I think I reserve the right to be able to blame you if you decide to take a shot at me.
Well, it wouldn't be on purpose.
No, but the injury will still be there, and it might affect my ability to do my duty, so...
She gets a stone-like facial expression. You really have no humor, do you?
Was that supposed to be humorous?
It was a joke!
Oh. He says, and then just carries on.
Over face palms.
Yeah.
He
And
has no soul.
all right. Well, you
I
guys,
don't get Ruby.
by-
You're horrible
by-
to tease.
by pure chance and luck and so on, you come across, you start heading back, as I understand it. Was that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the way there, you actually bump into Gylfi. In fact, Ylva very, very explicitly bumps into him.
Bad timing for face palming.
Yes, face palms, turns around a corner, boom, bumps into Gylfi, tumbles head over heel. Her quiver opens, her arrows spill out on the floor or on the ground. Yeah.
I'll
There'll be a little moment. Then she sits up, looks around with a, what the fuck did I trip over? The typical one where you look back at what you tripped over. Oh, hi, Gylfi.
He's like,
Are you okay?
why?
He's turning blue. Are you okay?
Of all the people to trip into.
It's just a sign that the boat you
Sorry.
need to pay attention more to where you're going. Sindri will help either of them up if either of them needs help getting up.
Ylva is so used to it she can get up on her own.
Yeah, go through
It's a little tragic, but yeah. Then she just gathers the arrows again, like
They look-
this is something
they
that
don't-
happens every
They
day.
don't look like what you remember you bought. There's something weird about the arrows.
Well, for both of us.
No,
What?
just the ones that spilled onto the ground. There's
She
something-
looks weirdly at them. Why do they look different?
because all of the fletching, all of the feathers are blood red.
But she can't see color.
No, well, the others can.
Well, he's first time seeing the arrows, so it's like,
We did not, or I didn't see the fletching that color when we bought them.
Huh?
The fletching, the feathers at the back of on the arrow shaft, they're red now.
it
What
goes
color
roots
is
around on the
Sindri's?
ground.
Sindri,
I'm
Sindri would-
asking Joan.
Well, you're all. Sounds like all three of you are trying to say something, and you keep, pausing to let the
Oh.
others speak, and then you
Yeah.
all speak up at exactly the same time. So let's try to get each of you in here and ask. Brain, you first. What were you about to say?
Gylfi would just look around on the ground around him. If there's something like spilled that could have paid like the fletchings
Nope,
could have like
there's-
sucked in. Okay.
No, there's water on the ground. It's been
Yeah.
raining again, but other than that, there's nothing. And what did you say, Aya?
Well, Ylva looks at hers and looks at Sindri's to see if there's any difference.
Well, you might not be able to tell the colors, but you can still tell, shades of
Tone
gray,
difference.
exactly, tone difference and so on. And his seem to have, a variety of tones, mostly white, because white or some
Light-
kind
light
of
grayish
light
and
grayish
stuff like
and
that.
so on. But yours are all uniform in color, and they're all rather dark.
And I remember they weren't that when I got them.
Yes, when you got them, they weren't.
She looks confused, like she doesn't really know what to do with them. So it looks like she makes up her mind and just puts them back in her quiver and doesn't ask further questions.
Yes.
feathers
Like,
of red.
yeah, that happened. I don't know what to do about it. I'll address it later.
Yes. And what about you, Sindri? What do you do?
Well, Sindri whips out one of the new arrows from his quiver to check it first.
That's just a perfectly normal arrow. There's nothing different about that at all. It's the same as when you bought it. It's got, it's the what is it called? The arrow itself is made of ash. It's got a sheath arrowhead. and the what is it called? And the fletching is mottled, but normal bird coloration for presumably for a goose.
So I think we'll put it back and say signs of the red raven out.
Then why only mine?
That is something I think we will find out in the course of time.
I hate it when that happens.
That's the way it always happens. Anyway, let's get back.
I don't think I've thought about what a sword would do with that much time. I mean, I get impatient if things takes more than 5 minutes. I can't believe what she would feel.
I think you'd have to learn patience, or you wouldn't survive.
I'm aware.
I don't think we've got anything else to say. Well, does anyone else have anything?
No. So you are heading back towards the inn again. Meanwhile, back at the Wounded Stag. Yes.
There is a very, very happy pigeon, apparently.
Clearly. Well, Baggy has gone to to crash early and get some rest. He's clearly not doing well, and his head is obviously giving him all manner of trouble. But you're sitting in the the common room.
Yes.
And Aina comes out with he comes out and is about to show you he's bought some rather nice looking poultry that he plans on making for dinner, clearly. And just as he's about to start talking, the door opens and in comes 5 quite heavily armed and armored men. Obviously, none of them are anywhere near the size of you, in terms of height or width or whatever, but they do look like... Well, the one thing you notice is they're uniformed. They're dressed. Their equipment is identical to each other. It's not individual warriors. It's and they're all wearing what is it called? A patch of cloth on their tunics with a triskele design, if you know what that is. That's that Irish thing with 3 circles.
Yes,
Yes.
I know it from Teen Wolf.
Yes, and that's and they look around and they say, "You." One of them turns over towards Frothy. "You, Southlander."
Do I understand him?
Yeah, he speaks very, very mangled Southlander, but he is understandable.
Yes.
Yeah. "You come with us.
Why?
Ari's order."
Have I encountered that word enough
Yes,
to remember
yes,
what it means?
Yes, you've been told about the fact that there is an Ari, which was explained to you at one point that was basically that there are several Ris, and then there's the big one, the big man amongst the lot of them, who's the ruler of this particular area and city, and that he's
Forty looks to the Aina.
Yes.
What does he look like?
He looks like he doesn't quite know what to make of the situation, and he does speak up in a polite but sort of questioning voice towards these troops, and one of them reacts by looking at him and saying a few clipped words to him, and Aina's face just he goes pale as snow in no time whatsoever, and and then you're basically told again, you come with us.
Thrody looks back and says, "Yes, one moment." And then he looks at Aina again and says, what did he say?
He says that if I don't get out of his way, I won't have an inn tomorrow. He called me a traitor.
I was about to ask if you could come with as a translator.
I can. I will.
I would appreciate that.
All right. He looks at the soldier again and explains. He points towards you, and explains that clearly it looks like what he's saying is that you don't speak the language, and then he wants to come as a translator. The soldier looks at Aina for a while and just first he just shrugs, and then he smiles, and there's a decidedly nasty look on his face when he seems to say, all right, or something to that effect. And then they're they basically make room for you to come along. And he does say a few words that Aina then answers, and he then leans over towards you and says he asked where your friends are, and I told them that they're all out in the city. I didn't mention Bargy.
That's probably good. Will you be all right? He looked sadistic.
Too late to change now.
Thrody puts a hand on his shoulder appreciatively and then follows along.
Yeah. Well, you guys get out into the streets, and you are led up towards the two hills on the two largest buildings, and you're led towards the smaller but more heavily fortified of the two.
And not the one covered in mist.
Not the one covered in mist, no.
Question: does he? Do they bump into us on the way?
Nope.
Okay.
You come back to an empty room.
Oh, completely empty?
There's nobody there. Well, you find Baggy, but he's asleep. That's all. He's the only person in the entire building.
No innkeep. No sign of a struggle.
Nope, but you do probably. Well, you can see that there are a couple of pheasants lying on the table where, where Aina is usually working, and well, they're just lying there. Basically, anybody who walks in from the street could have taken them.
But it does look like they were made to leave in a hurry. So basically, Sindri's pointing out the fact that they're gone. They don't look like they fought, but it does look like they.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I don't like this at all. I don't like leaving Bargy on his own here.
Well, there's no one to ask who took them. Or why they left.
Ilva, Gylfi, go out onto the street. Gylfi, see if you can ask if they saw our friend and the innkeep going somewhere with anyone, and see if you can follow them. I'll stay here and look after Bargy and the place, just in case someone gets any ideas.
Yeah, Elfie gets outside, and is there anybody working the street? Like, is there like a stall or?
No, this part of the of the street doesn't have stalls or shops as such. The inn is pretty much the only business in the immediate surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the weird thing, right? Normally, if someone would get lost, we would ask Frody to look for them with his crying. How dare he get kidnapped? Seriously?
So
I don't know. Like, if you try to look around, like search for any clues, like how to say, like try to look around if something like will give away like footprints or something like that.
I think there's way too many footprints here.
Yeah.
Quite a
With
lot.
it.
Quite a lot of them, yes.
And there's no people nearby? Not even outside?
Well, you can, if you go out back outside and see if anybody has seen anything, or yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, not really. But you can see when you mention footprints that it's been raining, as I said, and it looks like there are quite a lot of footprints in a large group of footprints, so to say, leading away that haven't been completely washed away by the rain yet.
Some of the feet possibly bigger.
Yes.
I spot frothy footprints. We should follow them. Come on, Gilfy.
Yeah, if you Gilf will follow Ilva.
Yes. So
And
Oh, this
and-
is a very cheesy thing, but I still have to. We're out to save the wizard, the great old wizard of Southlands.
Yeah.
it doesn't quite fit the melody, does it?
No, but we're out to save the wizards.
if you if you cut out the word land, it works.
You pretty quickly realize that it looks like they've been led up towards the castle, or the fortified building on one of the hills.
to paraphrase it, the
Probably not good.
the wizard is in another castle.
And we didn't follow the yellow brick road. It's horrible.
Well, you can follow the
Muddy shit road.
the muddy shit road up to the castle.
Yes, you can.
Well, you'll be able to tell who the RE is up in the castle. You won't have shit all over. Oh, come on.
Gilfy, what
Monty
do we do?
Python.
Sorry, what you were talking on top of each other.
Well, Ilva stops when she sees this and goes, "So, what do we do?"
Now we'll follow footprints, ask people on the way if they've seen anything. If I don't know how long ago he was taken.
Well,
It's kind of hard to tell because it's still raining, so the I mean, you can tell that it can't be that long because the footprints would have been washed completely away, but that is happening as you are following them.
Yeah, so Gilf
Should
will probably
we get-
follow.
should we get Sindri? I mean, if they're in the castle, it can't be for something good.
Sure, I don't know
Maybe
what
he
use
pissed
he
off
will
the
be
wrong
in the castle.
person.
I don't know what use he will be in the castle, but
What do you mean?
well, he cannot speak the language, so
No, but the innkeep is with him. He's gone too.
yeah, I don't know. We might try, but Sindri does not have really diplomatic attitude or anything.
Neither does Ilva. This will be good. Well, we should at least tell Sindri where they took him.
All
right. Ilva turns around and walks back.
And as you guys start to head back towards the inn, you come across a group of men wearing, again, they're uniformed. They're wearing the same kind of equipment and so on, and they spot you guys and immediately they call out towards you, in your direction.
Oh, they do they?
They do indeed.
What are they saying? It looked like it's urgent.
They are calling out to you in their own language.
Yeah, that is why she's asking Gylfi.
Yeah, go. Like,
Yeah.
what are they
Gylfi
saying?
understands that what they want is for you to follow them up to the castle.
Could you ask them why?
Gylfi is like, what does Ari require of us?
Well, the man says, I don't normally ask questions of the RE when it comes to his motives. So I'm really not in a position where I can tell you that. All I know is that the RE wants you to come to the castle because
Is this an arrest or invitation?
let's call it. Well, let's say we start with it being an invitation.
What are you saying?
He's like,
She elbows him.
he just says so. I think we are being intensely invited to the keep of the Ari.
So we are forcefully invited to join him.
I wouldn't say yet forcefully, but yeah, probably if we resist, it will come to force. But I would rather not
Oh, well.
make a scene in the town.
Well.
He's turning into the guards. Can we just get our companion, or do we have to go now?
Your companion, I believe, has already been brought up there. We saw.
Good to know.
We saw a friend of yours, we presume, unless there are suddenly more Southlanders in the city, being led up there by another group a few moments ago.
Oh.
So don't worry, no harm will have come to them.
Don't tell them about the rest.
Well, then let's go, Gylfi.
I was like, well, like he just like shrugs, like after you.
Ilva starts walking.
He's just trying to gauge how to refer to the man, like guardsman.
Yeah, that seems to be fine with him. He just, they're not being particularly threatening or anything. They're not pulling weapons on you or anything.
Yeah, Gylfi does not
stupid.
even. Yeah, Gylfi does not even have his weapons on. Just like literally just a knife on, because he won't be walking around the town with the shield and a spear.
No, but you guys are led up towards the.
Actually, that's a good question.
Yes?
Did I get to bring any equipment?
Only what you were wearing and sitting at the table
No.
with.
In that case, only my dagger and some scrimshoring gear, which is mostly used for fine detailing, so
Yeah,
not good for stabbing.
exactly.
Well, obviously, Ilva being Ilva doesn't really go anywhere unarmed. But
No,
yeah.
of course not. So no, you get up to the Ari's residence, and there are guards there who inform you that you are not to be allowed in while armed, any of you. But you do join up there. I mean, basically, you arrive there within, it's not that great of a lapse in time between your arrivals. So.
So I see them.
Yeah, you see them.
When we are let in near Frode, the only thing Ilva says is, "I feel so naked without my hammer."
Not the mental image
Just
I wanted right now, sister.
Before they take the weapons, Gylfi requests. Gylfi says to the man that takes the weapons, it's like, since it is customary for us, please, we will give the weapons, but can you just be with them, not near us, but within our sight? They are quite valuable to us.
We're not taking. We're not. You will get your weapons back. He says. We're
Just
not stealing them.
I'm not calling you it is our tradition to not get our weapons out of our sight. We don't have to be within hand's reach.
No,
You can be
no.
on the other side of the room, just so we
Yes,
can.
and I understand that, he says. However, I am also, my loyalty lies to my RE, and I'm not letting strangers get anywhere near him with weapons within convenient reach. You are in no danger here. He simply wants to talk to you.
Mhm.
Hi, Brody.
Hey, looks like you were also invited.
Hello, Aina.
Hello. The invitation was quite insistent, and
Yeah.
and seeing as Frothy doesn't speak the language, he asked if I could come along and translate.
Aina kindly agreed.
And I have to say I've never been up here before, and I'm wondering what's going on. And he's barely managed to say that before before a large oak door is opened, and a man opens it and steps through and closes it on the other side, and he looks at all of you. He's got a warrior's bearing to him. He's short compared to any of you, obviously. He does look strong, physically fit. He has long black hair and a rather nicely trimmed beard, and he's wearing comfortable looking clothes, but they're of very, very good quality. He does have this Triskele symbol on his tunic as well. And he looks at all of you and says, and he says in understandable Southlander, but again, clearly this is something he has to think very hard about, every single word. And he says, well, you are unusual visitors. What group do you answer to? I see no cloaks, he says.
Wait, did we not put on the clothes?
No.
Back? Okay.
We don't wear our colors openly because of shit.
I'd suggest the long razors. We at least have an inside woman with them. That was out of character, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Like Goofy thinks a moment, and we are with the long razors currently on our leave.
Right.
We finished our scout, and we were allowed to have a couple days of leave, and we were curious about this grand city we've been hearing a lot about.
I see. He does look almost disappointed when he hears that you belong to the Long Razors, but he nods and so, all right, very well. He says, I ask because there are not many Southlanders in Tirglas, and the RE would have. The RE could have, and he really thinks about it, work for Southlanders. But
Gilfy's like under his nose, like everybody does this day.
But he says, long racers already serve Liam.
Well, we are on the leave currently. If it's not contradictory with our allegiances.
It could be possibly against CharismaToAC is free city.
Mm-hmm.
No sword claims the city. And he says, no, must inform the RE. Please sit, wait. If hungry, I will.
He attempting to speak, like just choosing his words, or he is attempting to speak Southland?
He's attempting to speak Southlander, and he's having real difficulties with it. It's pretty clear
like Gilfy would be like, if you struggle with Southlander, I switch to your class.
Oh, thank you, he says. Well, if you need anything to eat, I will make sure that something is brought to you. I will go and inform the RE that you that you are, you know, with the long racers, and I will be back shortly. I expect that you will simply be, you know, that there will be nothing else in that situation or in that case, but yes, please sit, have a seat and wait.
It would be an honor to meet a if the fate allows.
He smiles and you know, crookedly, and just shrugs and says, perhaps, and then he leaves. So what do you guys do? Do you sit and wait, or what do you want to do? It's a large room. There's plenty of you know, you can look out over the city from here. The guards leave you alone. They don't bother you or anything.
I think Gilva would just marvel at the huge size.
Gilfy just crosses his arms on his chest and is like, well, you heard most of it.
What?
Yeah.
Well, most of the conversation was in Southlanders.
Yeah.
Whatever the guy said, you know. Gilfy does not have to reiterate. Well, we stand another decision if we reveal ourselves to the RE, or
I hope you're talking in a hushed tone.
Yeah, he is, and this was said that they left us alone.
Yeah. The guards don't bother you.
And he's speaking in Southlander,
of course.
So I would suggest we don't.
We can hear what they have to say. Maybe listen to the position. It's like, I'm not sure if we'll get to meet the ruler themselves. But I don't know. If
you do
we
have a point. You told him we were on leave, so we might be able to work on something. I don't think it's a good idea to reveal that we are not long racers, but it could be interesting to learn what troubles the ruler of this land.
Yes, but on the other hand, it goes a little bit against the idea of laying low.
Well, there's no trouble in listening. You can always say no.
Oh, curiosity is a horrible thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Ilva also wants to know.
Just as you say, we can always listen. You barely manage to say that, and then something weird happens, and for the rest of you, it doesn't. But for Frothy, it feels like almost like time slows down, and for everyone else, you can still move, but it's like, you know, it looks like they suddenly move through thick porridge, and every move they make is very slow and drawn out and deliberate, and you can hear the loud screech of a raven. I mean, you've heard it before, obviously, and suddenly you hear the shattering of glass. Glass is very it's extremely expensive. It's a massively expensive material. It's not something everybody has. In fact, it's glass in windows is quite rare, really. And you're not quite sure what is happening, but it sounds like something like these ravens may have shattered glass, and suddenly you are you can feel something almost like rain hitting your face, and when you reach up to touch it, it comes back red. It's blood that's dripping onto your face from somewhere. You turn around a couple of times because suddenly everybody else seems to be standing still. You have no idea what's going on. You're trying to orient yourself and figure out what the hell is actually happening around you. And there is a very, very brief moment or a flash where you see a woman with red hair, almost burning red hair, in this room. She's not there right now. You know she's not there right now. You're not sure if she has been there or if she will be there. You don't have any idea of this. But there is a moment where she is standing in the middle of this room, talking to someone or something. You just can't see what it is. And then yet again there is this sound of a raven screeching, and she suddenly, there's a almost like a flash of feathers, and again, like it happened before, there's this blood red raven that comes rushing straight at you, and literally just as it's about to hit your face, it's gone. And and then everything returns to normal, and the others move again as normal, and you are covered in sweat.
Eyes wide open,
Oh, yeah.
mouth slightly ajar, staring into nothing.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not gonna ask if you're okay, because obviously you're not.
Vision.
I guess as much.
I think if only we had a way to. We need to find a raven I can talk to.
Oh. All right.
And he looks around, clearly still trying to see if anyone else reacted to this.
Nobody else seems to have seen or experienced anything. This apparently is something only you, only you saw.
Creepy.
Yep.
I'll tell you about it when we're done here.
All right.
Okay. Well, not long after, the man with the black hair and beard comes back in and says, I have spoken to the RE, and he has agreed that rather than divide your allegiance in any way, he apologizes for inconveniencing you, and you are, of course, free to go, with his compliments.
I'm guessing he says that in tear glass.
He does. He does.
Well, Ilva understands a little bit of it, but she still looks at Gilfy.
Feels like if the RE is ever, will be in the city for the foreseeable future. Will
Indeed.
if the RE has a need for us, we'll be happy to talk. It's just maybe less guards next time. Just it's really
Of course. It's
one or two is okay.
of course, but seeing as nobody here really knew how you would take to, let's call it, an invitation, it was deemed prudent to be careful.
Oh, yeah.
Your people you have a deserved reputation for your skill at arms,
Ilva cocks her head.
which is also why this contact was initially made. But as I said, seeing as you have already got your allegiance to Liam to take care of, I am to inform you that the RE does not wish to further inconvenience you. He nods his head and
I have a question. Already says, of course, in Southlander.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
man.
understand.
For the God Man.
yes.
Do you have glass windows?
He smiles and says, I don't believe so. No, that would be exorbitantly costly. I think that there are glass windows in at least some of the rooms in the building on the hill next to this one at the House of Magic. But other than that,
Yes, of course.
they would undoubtedly be able to simply conjure them up themselves.
Furry looks impressed at that because that sounds like precision. And then he seems like he's satisfied, and then he still adds, "Has a raven ever flown through your windows, or crashed rather? Then that you know of."
Not to my recollection, he says, and looks a little confused at the question. It's like, what a weird thing to ask. But
Thury smiles and says, "We Southlanders like ravens."
I have been told that was the case. Well, in that case, no, I'm sorry that I can't be of more assistance on that on that issue. But no, I'm this place has no glass windows and well, if you'll pardon me for saying so, seeing as I'm not a Southlander, blessedly few ravens.
Well, thank you. Anyway,
You are most welcome. And he nods to each of you and once again turns around and and leaves, and then when that has happened, then
Gelfi would probably stop him. Excuse me if I'm being too forthcoming with this, but if we would ever want to, let's say, pass a message to Ari, what would be the best way to do it?
well, you
Well, let's say be with the least amount of people involved.
if you want the least amount of people involved, I suggest you trust me.
Right? Well, where can I? Where are you? You can be found in here in the keep, or
Yes, here is definitely.
well, then I will keep that in mind.
Very well.
What's I would forget where my man is. What's your name if we ever have to ask for you?
Oh, right. That's that might be a good idea. And he says, I actually had the name looked up here, so give me a second and I'll find it again, because of course, I'd closed that down again.
Oh, I do that all the time too.
Yes.
Once we've found out his name, you shall make it a perfect cliffhanger.
Yes. No, he says my name is Kieran.
Well then, Kieran, my name is Gelfi. If only fair that I give you my name also. Hope to see you again in good health. We'll see ourselves out.
And just one last thing before I leave, he says, and looks towards Aina, who is sitting by he's still sitting by the wall where he took a seat originally, and he's looking quite nervous.
Our most gracious host.
Oh, that's I was about to ask.
We've been staying at this inn.
Oh, right.
He was-
Well, that answered my questions. I was simply about to ask how this man got involved. He's clearly not a Southlander.
He was since we were pulled separately, invited separately. I'm sorry. Then he was invited along to be a translator, a person because he knows Southlander speech
Right.
pretty well.
Well, he looks rather nervous. I suggest maybe letting the man return home would be a good idea.
Yeah, I think we'll going the same way.
Indeed.
Can for him, I suppose. Nothing safer than.
Indeed. Well, have a very pleasant day, Gulfy of the Southlands, and should you
too, Kieran.
ever decide to well, you know where to find me. And then he leaves.
Well, yeah, Gulfy turns on his heel and well, free to go.
Yes.
Ilva is pretty quick to go get her weapons back. This is weird. She wants her weapons.
Yeah.
He
Don't be too rushed because they will think you're charging them or something.
No, she's not that dumb.
He's
She's just clumsy.
I'm not saying dumb. He's just eager.
Yep. Well, you are.
Well, it is quite obvious that her eyes lights up like it's Christmas time when she gets her hammer back and shit.
Yeah. The the thing is that when you get outside, Aina just looks like he finally remembers how to breathe unaided, and he very nearly dissolves in a puddle on the flagstones, because he's sincerely impressed by what has just happened.
Are you alright?
A moment, Aina.
He says, I didn't want to make everything I didn't want to start waving my arms around while we were in there, but you probably don't know who that man really was. He says that's the Ari's younger brother by exactly 1 year.
Oh,
So,
Well, he's the most important man in CharismaToAC, probably apart from the Ari himself, and probably the head of the Order of the Arasari.
oh,
Interesting.
Ilva is still kind of, well, back home we also have pretty fancy titles, but they don't really mean much.
I think we should maybe discuss this back at the inn.
Alright.
I'll just. Yes, I should probably get back and get started on.
Yeah, I
dinner
think
for all of you.
there are some pheasant. I think that he's
Yes,
standing.
yes, definitely. He
There,
looks very
so there.
happy to not be involved in anything at this point anymore, because that was quite enough excitement for one lifetime for him.
Yeah.
And
No, don't worry. I'm sure you'll be quite safe on your way home with us.
I think so. Yes.
Ilva looks at the others. He looks like me when I see the Raven Lady. What the fuck happened?
maybe he saw what is the same to him as the Raven Lady is to you.
But he was just a man.
And I guess some would say, some stupid people,
He's
that
a woman.
What did you
I
say?
I was just making stupid
No,
jokes.
no, it was Rasmus. I couldn't hear him.
Brody said that you could argue that some stupid people would say that the Raven Lady was just a woman. He would, of course, disagree heavily.
Yeah, but she's still a sword. She's not just a woman. That was just a man. Or like her or not, it's not really the same thing.
Brody shrugs. I imagine the feelings are similar.
Well, apparently here, the titles are very important to them, apparently.
Hmm. Yeah, I loathe to be the one pissing on everyone's lollipops again, but I just want to point out it is the time we should take a break.
It is. You're absolutely right.
You're not pissing on lollipops because they haven't been made yet.
You're absolutely right. We should have actually taken a break a few minutes ago, to put it mildly, but that just means we will have a slightly longer middle part and a shorter final part of this week's episode. But don't go anywhere. We will be back with the final part of the Long Voyage for this week in just a moment. So, yeah.